Broadcasting from the Vancouver Convention Center in British Columbia, Solutions Review is on location at the FME User Conference 2022, the peak of data integration. Brought to you by Safe Software.
I'm Doug Atkinson here in Vancouver, British Columbia at the FME User Conference 2022 with a partner of Safe Software, Todd Lewis, founder and CEO of Spatial DNA. Thanks for being here.
Good to meet you, Doug.
Well, it's nice that you came by. We've been talking to a lot of partners, and almost all of them have been telling us first and foremost how long they've been with, and it's an incredible story of how long folks have been in working with Dale and Don and Safe, and your story is similar. You yes. Go back a ways even before with the start of Spatial DNA. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved and kind of the path you've been on.
Okay. Well, I guess my first inkling of Safe was the original Safe format, SAIF. I was working at the Bedford Institute in Halifax, and I had to put together some web mapping stuff, circa 1996, so it was practically impossible at that point. And I came across this formula or format and the code that was just published by the BC government called SAIF, and I looked through it and I was, this is amazing. It was so elegant. I just couldn't believe somebody had put together something that thoughtfully. Yeah.
Excellent. And so that was your first introduction, and then you subsequently became a consultant, or you were a consultant, and kind of
yeah. So I became a consultant with NAV Canada. I was helping them to acquire a new information management system that was GIS based, and one of the things they assumed is that they could just push a button and generate all the maps they needed in MicroStation. And I was like, it's actually not that easy. You have to actually convert it into something and then do this thing called cartography.
Right, right. And actually, I talked to Dale and Don yesterday, and one of the things that they said that was remarkable to me is that they felt like they had solved the hardest problem first with the whole spatial issue around integration and transformation.
Yeah.
So you've seen it kind of evolve.
That's right.
Really from the beginning of, and what has struck you with regard to the evolution of Safe and FME?
Well, I think it's gone from, I think the big thing with it now is it's gone from something that is really focused on how do I get from here to there in terms of data in one format to another, to an actual enterprise platform that is useful as an enterprise class system, right? I would say it didn't used to be that way, and but the provenance of the product, dealing with the hardest problems with the most massive data that you could imagine, geospatial information, I think it really lent itself to a rock solid product as an enterprise platform.
Well, it's clearly given them an incredible, unique value proposition in order to get to this point. But I think you're right. They've gotten, that again is the story that we're hearing, is they've gotten to this point now where they have that down, the spatial elements of it, and now they really are starting to prepare for this transformation that's happening culturally around data going to the cloud.
Yep.
People becoming more comfortable with sharing data and integrating data, and really opening up all the possibilities around pulling all that data together and creating, really actionable projects.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ones that you're working on?
Well, our primary focus is really shifted into application integration.
Yep.
And it's funny because we'd been using Safe for sort of the GIS piece for quite some time. We started to realize that a lot of the system design work that we were doing was really getting into application integration, enterprise integration. And we decided we wanted to make a big step into that space, and we started working with a not FME product We actually won an opportunity with one of the major system integrators, and then the customer that we won said, we don't actually have the budget to do this. Can you cut the budget in half? So we were able to cut the service budget in half by reducing scope, and we went back to that product platform, and they're like, well, now we don't even want to talk to them. We're not going to sell our product to them. Right?
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, it was unbelievable. So the next opportunity that came up, my partner at the SI called up, and he's like, do you want to do this? And like, we're not bidding that platform. Let's talk to the SAFE guys. I think we can do it in this platform. That was 2016.
Yeah.
And they were like, when I brought it up with the SAFE team, they were like, we never really thought about using it that way, but we'll support you. Knock yourself out, right? And we did. We went and we implemented an FME, the platform, as an enterprise service bus, integrating Amanda, CityWorks, Salesforce, and a few other, JD Edwards, and a few other products for our customer. And it wasn't that bad. We were done in 3 months. Yeah. And that got us into that track.
Races.
We were off to the races. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And it's been a cool journey with them because we've been working very closely with Don in particular, Don Murray, and the server team, and then the cloud team when that came on. And a lot of the stuff that's come up in the SAFE platform has been stuff that we've been like, can you make this easier? How would you make this easier to do, right? Things like, we started talking about service orchestration and just how complex it was to do in the SAFE platform. And the next year automation showed up and we're like, we would never thought of doing it this way, but this is so simple.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's interesting how they're able to take feedback and put it into the product in a completely unexpected way that's like, well, okay, now it's just dead easy.
Yeah, no, the community is incredibly active, and they're very, very proud of kind of the way they're nurturing that community. I'm sure you're participating and getting all kinds of insights as well. It seems like a cultural, it's like a cultural advantage that they've created, the way they've built the business. Yeah. And the fact that they've been with the business from when they started together, and whenever they started, 93, I think. And they're still here. They are still partners, which is notable in and of itself. Yeah. They're both incredibly nice guys.
Yeah, and they're funny.
Yeah.
And they're funny. It's one of the things, from their culture that their corporate culture that we've looked at and tried to emulate is trying to think of the word, but it's basically that they'll give it away and just assume at some point in the future it'll come back. Right?
Yeah, right.
That they'll put the love out in the universe and there'll be love back in return, Well, and they are.
Yeah, no, I think some of the projects that it's being implemented in. I mean, we've talked to a lot of the European partners over the past couple of days, and they're working on, climate action, climate change measurements in the EU across multiple governments and multiple, disparate data in different languages and all kinds of. It's really, and it's really driving the full. Green Deal that they're implementing in the EU. It's it's legitimately at the forefront of something societally important.
Yeah.
So what's not to like about that? That's kind of putting the love out.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to as you look out into the future for Spatial DNA?
For Spatial DNA? Well, it's interesting. We've actually, through COVID, everybody had to make changes in terms of the way the business worked. We were already a virtual first organization, so that wasn't a big change for us. That actually made it easier to find people. But we found we had to change our business model completely, right? Really? So we're a professional services firm and doing project
people
work.
On site? Is that how you were doing it?
We were often going on site, but it was just doing sort of the professional services project work. And with Safe going subscriptions, and everybody's starting to look at how do you deal with annual recurring revenue, and everybody's trying to do that. Well, how do we get some of that, right? So we've actually reinvented the company on top of the Safe platform as a platform as a service offering. So we've codified all of the work that we do, the business process that we've automated, and application integration into a license model, and it's all built on the Safe technology, and it complements it.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's been a really interesting journey, and it's taken 2 years to figure out how to sell it that way.
Sure.
And we're still trying to figure out how to market it.
Well, it sounds like the market is going to be,
yeah,
expanding
yeah,
for a long while.
Yeah, and I think there's, we're seeing a lot of competition, I guess you could call it, that has been doing similar stuff in the financial space in particular, or the healthcare space in particular. And now other industries are kind of going, hey, all this automation, we need some of that, right? We're losing workers left and right. Your boomer generation is retiring. We're not replacing those people. We need to figure out how to do the same or more volume of work with a lot less people and a lot less ability to mentor and train the new people coming on, right?
Yeah, better tools, right?
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for swinging by. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope you've enjoyed the show.
That's been great.
It's been great for us as well. Best of luck with the platform as a service model.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Best of luck for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Todd.